Welcome to Rise and Shine. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today.
What wonderful news and a great way, I guess, to end the week on this Friday with this story. But this Iris has been described as South Africa's first AI teaching robot. Can you tell us what went into this and what inspired you to create it?
I've been a teacher myself. After finishing my degree, I couldn't get my job as microbiologist or hydrologist. So I then applied for education if I can teach math and science since during my university life, I've been teaching kids physics. And fortunately, I got a job and I encountered the problems that our teachers are actually encountering whenever they're teaching. You end up teaching during the working hours, you end up working even after working hours. How you take the papers to mark at home, so you end up not having enough time for your family. So that when I'm like, okay, one day, like it was kind of a joke. One day I'm gonna solve this problem. So because I knew I was an innovator back in the days, I knew that I was a scientist. So I'm just passing when it comes to Department of Education. But I thank God that I actually started there so that I can know the real problem that I made to solve. And on top of that, I was actually teaching in rural areas, so where there was limited resources, so which simply added to the problems that we were actually encountering. Imagine having to teach kids. For example, I taught students in grade 12. There were 280 something, which was a little bit of a problem. I'm like, okay, so if I'm teaching 280 something kids, what happens after to someone else who maybe has got a family, who's already married, and I have to mark paper one, paper two, physics, and then let's like at some point somebody needs to come up with something, you know. So that's when the whole thing started because I'm like, okay, one day, and then it's happening now. We have a robot, Iris. She's able to communicate with all South African languages. She's able to help students with homeworks, revisions, anything that a teacher can be able to do. But however, she's not here to replace our teachers. That's why when we started, we had our teachers in our mind that we want to solve their problem while our students. For example, Iris is able to communicate in our South African languages. She
Mm-hmm.
knows all the subjects, including subjects that are not under STEAM, including history, accounting, you name it. Not just that, and then when Iris, let's say the school has got Iris, and then you can see that there's a screen here which allows the school to have, let's say, tablets with our software, Iris software. Simply means that now when the teacher is setting the paper or the classwork or homework for whatever that needs marking, now because the teacher already they are preparing the lessons, but they're using the papers and whatnot. So now instead of using the papers, they can just prepare with Iris, and then when the students are writing either a test, exam, or whatever, Iris can mark within a second. It then gives the teacher enough time to have to have enough time with their families. Not just that, to focus more in elaborating in some other matters rising with the kids, with the students as well. Not
Mm.
just that, also she's able to do a mark list. I know it's tiring to do a mark list. I've been there, I've done that. Sometimes you do it and then you have to redo and whatnot. So now with Iris, after say a student have written all their test, it will automatically give you that out of this test, these are the number of students that wrote. This is the total. They got this out of this. This is the percentage. Not just that. Let's say you've given a student, let's say a classwork with
Mm-hmm.
5 questions. I like 5 questions. Let's say they all got 1, 2, 3, 4, and they struggle with number 5. Remember that we do not teach to just pass the chapter, but we're teaching to make students understand, right? So now it simply means that with Iris, we are proving that we do not just say because I'm done with the chapter, then I'm leaving. So with Iris, when the students are writing these 5 questions, and they are allowed to write as many times as they can, so that and whenever they're losing this one, she will write the response how they were supposed to answer, and then give them another chance to rewrite this because the aim is not just to teach and pass, but it's to teach to understand, right? And then the teacher will then get into an analysis that okay, apparently 20 students manage, or all your students manage to get 1 up to 4, but they failed, they tried maybe 10 or 2 times or 5 times in number 5, and then the teacher automatically would know that I have to go back and then redo number 5 since my students are struggling in this one. So basically when he created this, it was not just to replace them, but to assist them. Just like when back in the days we didn't have cell phones, or we had those phones, small phones called the didn't have access to the internet, right? So it's when the technology developed, when we got to touch screens, we were happy because it made our job easier. It made us to be able to know what's happening in the world, to actually learn more. Just like I taught myself how to do this coding and robotics. Without these cell phones or these internet gadgets, then it was going to be a problem. Just like this Iris, she's here to just solve problems that we don't. Sorry, I talk a lot when I talk about my project,
It's
so I end
amazing
up
that, you know,
amused.
it doesn't just teach, but it also gives real-time assessments that are comprehensive. Because, of course, as you know, as a teacher, children don't learn at the same pace and in the same way. So that's incredible that you incorporate that part of it into Iris. Why the name Iris? We know it's a name that's primarily a girl's name.
Okay, basically, when we thought of Iris, when I started developing Iris, it was in India. So we had people from Paris. Ne? So it was a struggle for them to pronounce difficult names. So like, since my plan was to make her international, right? So let me just go with a girl's name, but maybe Iris would do. There's like nothing behind it. And on top of that, when I searched the Iris, it's meant utingo, like utingo, like it's a rainbow kind of thing. So it then covers and caters every race that I'm not like gonna be making Iris that can speak my language or that can be focusing on my skin color, but it's gonna be kind of rainbow nation.
Beautiful name, the Iris, the girl's name. It means rainbow, a very fitting one. So, as you mentioned, you are a teacher and then you face some challenges, and that's part of the reasons that you came up with Iris. And as you touch on some of those challenges, you mentioned the one of having adequate time to do other things outside of teaching. If you are obviously a woman who wears different hats and you're not just a teacher, of course. But what were the other challenges then that you faced that you wanted Iris to address?
Basically, okay, as a teacher, that's basically what I encountered. But she's then able to innovate, to upgrade into being an admin as well, helping, like for example, because already we started adding that. Iris, can you please just talk to her? Iris, please send an email to so and so. You know, especially if you are a business. Oh, she's also able to give business ideas because she's business orientated as well. Yeah, basically that's all that we have at this point in time. And what I like about Iris is that, let's say a school has got Iris now, and then later on the technology grows. It doesn't mean that you have to go rebuy another Iris. We develop, we upgrade the systems, and that's it.
Awesome. I think that's great to know. And you touch on the fact that Iris shouldn't bring about the fear that teachers will be replaced, those who are human teachers. But this is a way of supporting. It's an add on, it's not a replacement. You've mentioned plans to introduce Iris to every classroom in South Africa. How are you working with the government and relevant sectors, private sector, that is, to make this possible?
Yes, we are working with government. We are working with private sector. We are still in preparations to finish our plant in Durban, and we are still inviting more so that, because this is not just my dream, it's now a South African dream. Where, because it's not gonna just benefit Utando, but it's gonna benefit a black child in a way that even when she's in a class and they say the curriculum of that school include, let's talk an example of coding and robotics. Department of Education is trying to put coding and robotics in schools, and then it's a bit of a struggle for now because I'm still working with the schools. So with Iris in your school, then you don't have to struggle that. But I need more training on coding and robotics so that I can teach the kids. Iris can actually do that. She can actually help with that. On top of that, if the kids are finding it hard to adjust to a new subject, which is the one that I'm talking about, she can also give time to the kids. So I'm just hoping that we're gonna be getting as many stakeholders as we can so that we can actually reach this goal.
As someone from a rural area, and you touched on that also, you've won international awards. So, what advice or message would you give to young innovators in Africa, particularly women who aspire to work in tech and in artificial intelligence or AI?
I'd say I'm from a rural area, not just a rich background, by the way, from a poor background where we used to stay in a mud house. When it's raining, you have to move aside so that you can look for a spot. So I'm mentioning that so that if ever there's a woman out there, a young woman out there who's experiencing that at this point in time, then they should know that it's possible, it's doable. Whatever that is happening, whatever that you believe in, whatever that is there that you think you want to do, regardless of your current situation or your background, just go for it. And trust me, people will forever talk. That's what I told myself, that as I'm coming out with this, Iris, I know a lot of people will be saying negative comments and whatnot, but just focus on the goal and don't shift. Don't let any negative things that might come your way distract you of your passion and of your goal. That's what I can say. It's possible. If a girl from rural areas of KwaMnqobokazi in Hluhluwe, did it, and then you can also do it.
So, which other countries do you have your eyes on then for this robot? We imagine it's not just going to be within the borders of South Africa, but where would you see this fitting successfully in other parts of Africa?
I'm already in Dubai in discussions of introducing Arista side. So I'm actually targeting every country, especially even China for that matter. I know the technology is good, but then the speaking code of of other languages, that's the cracking code, because if they are able to struggle to communicate in English and they need people to teach them English, simply means that I can actually put Iris to speak Chinese language, and also since she's able to speak English. I mean, the whole world basically. I'm targeting the whole world to have Iris. Those who welcome us with warm hands, we are free to actually work with them.
Awesome. How were you able to make Iris multilingual and also to be able to cover so many subjects?
Okay, she's integrated with AI when it comes to those subjects. So she's that smart in a way that she taps into the old department within a second. So whenever you're asking her a question, like for example, Iris, can you help me with mathematics? Or you just give her a problem. She'll first ask you, what grade are you? So that she's able to tap into that grade information, that curriculum, so that she'll respond based on your level. Yeah, I even forgot the question.
No, I think you answered it in terms of how you did that to put those languages together. What an incredible innovation. But how long did it take for you to get to this point? I know you said you worked in India on this project as well.
Yes. Before it could come to a real prototype, it took me 7 months, because not counting the times where I had a theory, already. But now to prove that the theory can be taken into real action took like 7 months.
It's quite a quick turnaround time. I never expected it. I thought you'd say it was years in the making.
No, the years were part of me having the theory part, but the
Right.
making, and yeah, it was such an incredible, if that's even the right word to put it out there. It was an amazing thing, you
Yeah.
know, uh, the results, especially the languages part. That was the hardest one, but I'm super excited that we cracked it.
Dr. Gumede, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for joining us and inspiring us, all who are listening. And you being a young woman at only 31 years old and coming up with this next level innovation. And this is not just for science and AI, it's for education, it's for social development, really. So we're proud of you and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, man.
What a great innovation there. It's called Iris, the first AI teaching robot. It's in South Africa, but it's basically for the continent as well. And the whole global space will benefit from this. Dr. Thandoh Gumede, founder of BSG Technologies, that company that created Iris that she owns. It's based in South Africa.
Africa, meet a birdie. Yeah.